Hey running shoes and Hill Street Blues, it's time for your favorite 5 to 8 minutes of the week. Hey everybody, my name is John and welcome to ADITW, A Day in the Word, the internet's favorite Bible study. For those of you who missed last week, sinners, we are in a brand new study of 1 Peter. And last week we talked about how the original intention of this book was to encourage churches that were suffering from religious persecution. And so that is sort of the lens from which we are going to look at every chapter of this book. And today, we got chapter 2. If you would, can I have you read 1 Peter chapter 2, verses 4 through 8. So in this section, we find our author, Peter, using the metaphor of a stone. How appropriate. Peter talking about a rock. I get it. Very funny. And he starts by referring to Christ as the living stone. And this metaphor is an accurate one because if you think of a rock, a stone has invincible strength and everlasting duration. The rocks that you can find literally in your backyard can be hundreds or even thousands of years old and beyond. And especially in the first century where Peter is writing, stone was often used as the foundation of a building. And so Peter is making the case here that as the living stone, Christ is the foundation of our faith. You may have heard this idea before in church that Christ is the foundation or Christ is the cornerstone. Christ alone, a cornerstone. This is one of the section of scriptures that idea is pulled from. And so if this is true, if Christ really is the foundation of our belief system, the question is, what do we do about that? Especially in the face of persecution and hardship. If you could imagine for a second walking out the front door of your house, and in the lot next door, there is this stone foundation built into the ground. There's no house on top of it, it is just a stone foundation. And whoever owns that plot of land next to your house essentially has two choices. They could choose to build a house on top of that foundation, or they could ignore it. And they could leave the slab there to become an eyesore and just something for neighbors to trip over in the night. And again, what Peter is saying here is that Christ is now the foundation of our faith. And we, as believers, we essentially have two choices. We can try ignoring Jesus, just pretending that he doesn't exist or he's not there or he wasn't who he said he was. And by rejecting him, the promise that we receive is that we will eventually stumble. Or we can take the foundation that was laid by Christ on the cross and through the resurrection. We can take that foundation and we can choose to begin to stand on it and begin to build God's kingdom on top of it. Peter makes it very clear here that there is no ignoring Jesus. There is no ignoring this foundation. Those who don't stand on it will stumble on it. And the encouragement that we're left with here is that when we make the choice to stand on the firm strength of Christ, we ourselves begin to transform into living stones. His strength, his power, and his eternal life are transferred over to us when we choose to stand on the foundation of his truth. And when we choose to stand on Christ as our foundation, then we are like the man who built his house on a rock. It says that the rain fell, and the floods came, and the wind blew and beat on that house, but it did not fall. When we experience persecution or hardship, the temptation can be to run and flee and set up shop on a weaker, lesser, earthly foundation. But in those moments of persecution, in those moments of fear, in those moments where we are experiencing the pressures and anxieties of this world, we must find the courage within ourselves to stand on the foundation of Christ, the immovable, eternal, and living stone of our faith. Hey y'all, thank you as always for watching yet another episode of ADITW. I really love digging into this book of 1 Peter because I think the intention of it to encourage people who are dealing with persecution and hardships and who are struggling in their faith and relating their faith with the world, I think that is extremely relevant. At least it is in my life. I hope it's proving relevant in yours as well. If it is, I would really appreciate it if you would comment down below and let me know. Before I go, I want to remind you all, if you haven't seen it yet, I have a brand new poem that I uploaded to the channel just a couple days ago. It is called What If? It begins to ask these questions of what if God is all that he says he is? What if the Bible really is true? What sort of implications does that have on you and on me and how we relate with him? I don't want to go too far into the poem. You should just go and watch it. And if you have watched it, I would really appreciate it if you shared it with a friend. I think it's going to be an encouragement. I pray it's going to be an encouragement to a lot of people. And I hope you enjoyed it. That's all I have for you. I hope you all are having a fantastic week. I love you all more than I can say. Keep being awesome.